Alright, it is now the year-end, officially the holiday season. As you can see, my office is now empty today. Nobody's coming in. A lot of Singaporeans are out on holiday, but if you're like me, still in Singapore, you will be in a treat because from 6th December to 21st December, the Coastal Cabana EC show flat will be open. There's going to be a lot of interest because the last EC for the year, or potentially the first EC for 2026, and you're going to be expecting some record prices there. And there's a lot of interest because it is the first EC in Pasir Ris in over 10 years, 13 years I think. And today we're going to be doing deep dive on the project my way, my style. But before we do the deep dive, let me just set the stage a little bit for you in today's video, because I've done so many videos about Coastal Cabana. We're going to be covering 3 new things about the project. Number 1, because guide prices are out, we're going to be talking about the real pricing logic behind Coastal Cabana. Number 2, how the project is going to stack up against the nearby resale ECs in the area, like Sea Horizon, like Watercolors, because there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of talk on social media that by agents themselves saying that, hey, those potentially better buys because those resales are going for 1,002 or lesser PSF if you're lucky. And number 3, the part that actually nobody talks about, whether you can actually sell for a big profit and exit safely 10 years down the road when you hit your MOP, assuming you buy this Coastal Cabana, and then the next wave of HDB upgraders enter the market to buy from you. So let's start. First thing, if you know nothing about the newest EC in Singapore, it is Coastal Cabana. It is right beside Downtown East. Let me just show you on the map, right beside Downtown East, or it has been rebranded as E-Hub, or rather Downtown East is here, E-Hub is here. And then it is just a few bus stops away from Pasir Ris MRT, and if you're familiar with this location, there's a lot of construction going on, a lot of road works going on. But in any case, you are also right beside Sea Horizon. Resale EC, in my experience helping upgraders explore resale options in the area, has received mixed reviews from upgraders. Some of my clients like it, some of them don't like it. More on that later on. As you can see on the map, it is located in the large condo clusters, and beside it is a forested area which has also been zoned for future housing. And if you look in just this area on the map, how many condos are there? I'm not going to count, it's just too many to count. And they say Singapore, not enough housing. Alright, so of course, let's compare it with the neighbours. We have Sea Horizon, which is right beside it. It is one of the biggest currently, 297,000 square feet of land with 495 units completed, the youngest completed in 2016. Take note, we have 495 units over 300,000 square feet of land size. And then we look at Ripple Bay, something I just never knew. I just realized when doing this research. 291,000 square feet of land size, but almost 679 units. That's a lot more dense than Sea Horizon. But on the ground, when I go visit these 2 projects back to back, I will never have figured out. I feel the developer for Ripple Bay did such a good job making the project that I don't feel it's so clustered, it's so dense compared to Sea Horizon. And then we can see in between, there's Watercolor Sea Strand, around 200,000 square feet of land size with around 300 number of units. What do we have in Coastal Cabana? Coastal Cabana is around 305,000 square feet of land. As you can see, it is the biggest plot of land in the cluster. This is all the project side by side when I put the site plan together. And it comes with 748 units, making it the densest project in the cluster. You can see it is the biggest plot of land, but it's also a very neat, very organized layout. We'll talk about the layout later on. So these are just the facts in terms of the project comparison that I want to share with you. And for Coastal Cabana itself, it's interesting to note that it was purchased by the developers at 729 per square foot per plot ratio. Knowing the break-even price, developers typically launch around 15 to 20% profit margins, but for ECs, it's a bit different. In fact, we don't even have to guess what the prices are going to be like. Weeks ago, months ago, I already mentioned that likely it's going to be in the range of 1,006, 1,007 PSF. Why? Because it is subsidized housing and it is subjected to MSR rules, alright? Which means it's giving us a very clear guideline on how much the developers can push the prices and sell the units for. For example, we can see that the 3 bidders, based on the price guide provided by the developers, is going to range from 1.4, which is facing the HDB, all the way up to 1.7, where your C-facing unit, your bigger C-facing units will be at. So that's a big range, 1.4 to 1.7 mil. And then the 4 bidders, it is going to start from 1.6 mil and stretching all the way up to, I think, even 2.3 mil if it's a C-facing high floor unit. That's the guide price that you're going to be expecting. Sounds high, but before anything, if you are a HDB upgrader and you're trying to figure out whether you should go for the resale route or try this new launch EC. This is exactly what I do on a daily basis. I go through the MSR approvals based on your incomes, based on your CPF balances. I'll guide you whether you should be wiping out everything, your CPF, or keep some 50k, 100k as backup. As well as assessing the timeline risks if you're going to be doing a normal transaction versus doing deferred payment scheme versus doing bridging loan for your selling and purchasing. All these cash flow options I'll be running through with you. I run through this with my clients weekly. If you are unsure where you stand, just DM me, DM my team. We'll sit down with you, we'll run through your personalized financial details. Then we can show you the exact difference for you buying Coastal Cabana versus buying a next door 10, 12 years old EC or a full condo. No pressure to engage. I just don't want you to misjudge your affordability and then down the road, stuck and then, cannot do much. Let's analyze the selling points in terms of location, and then I'll share with you some product knowledge as well. But now for this project, it is considered low rise in today's typical 30, 40 story new launches. You go to Penrith, you go to Orin, Toa Payoh and all that. It's all high rise. But because we're in Pasir Ris, we're near the airport, 12 story is the highest that we're gonna get. But the biggest plus point is the distance to Pasir Ris Park. Okay, it still has a small beach, I think. It is around 7 minutes walking to the seaside. Now, I used to stay in Pasir Ris. I would jog around 10-15 minutes to get to the seaside. Here, you can walk 7 minutes, and then if I'm not wrong, it's a 5 kilometers seaside stretch that you can jog. It is a very, very nice beach, seaside area. Not as busy as East Coast Park, yet you're still very close to amenities. Finish jogging, you can go to Downtown East. Finish jogging, you can go to Elias Mall for food. These are just all within walking distance. And I've been told that it is a project that comes with 1-to-1 car park lot for each unit. So you don't have to worry about parking spaces, even though you're just a few bus stops away from the MRT. Everyone in this cluster, majority drives actually, okay? So, and you should know that a lot of new projects in the market today provide only 70%, 80% car park compared to the number of units available. Now, facilities-wise, you have a grand boulevard lobby, a double-story coastal club, and viewing decks which are sea-facing. Definitely you'll be able to wow your family and friends during your kids' birthday party. Don't be like me, buy property, buy a house, don't even know whether the condo got function room or not. And as an agent helping clients, helping families upgrade to condos, I can tell you many families actually search for the function room or rooms, all right, and they look at the quality of the function room. These are things that you get to show your friends and family when they come over to visit, things like that. But besides that, typically it comes with your standard condo facilities, but this also comes with Downtown East right beside, all right, which comes with hundreds, I think hundreds of food options at your doorstep. You are just one traffic light away, small traffic light away. We are actually, if you're familiar with the location, all right, in the past, this used to be the open air car park. Back in the days, I remember parking in the open air car park, and then I cross over to watch my late night movies with my friends and some dates also. Park outside because I want to save on the overnight parking. I can tell you, if people are willing to park and cross over, you can be assured on how close you are to your NTUC supermarket, to the rest of the amenities on a daily basis. All right. So, what is actually bad about this project? I would say, I've been to the show flat. All right. If you want to go to the show flat, let me know. I can arrange for you. I can give you my full honest review. But otherwise, what I can tell you here in this video is the block to block distance is 21, 22, 20, around 20 to 25 meters block to block. That is not going to be acceptable for some buyers down the road. Today, you go to the show flat, you probably will say that, okay, this is a bit normal. It is, all right? But in the resale market, I can tell you some buyers will just walk in and walk out because they say the privacy is not there. So looking at the site plan, it does look like the project is jam-packed with blocks. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of blocks, and then you compare that to next door, Sea Horizon, which is basically just a U shape, and the blocks are just crisscrossing each other. On the floor plan, it does not look like they're looking into each other straightforward, but in reality, they do see each other. You don't have as many sea views also, as you would imagine. And then you go next door to Watercolors, where the project is, you can see the shape, it is in a circular layout, okay? And then you go to Siesta, it is another generally U-shape, but you can see the projects are still, the inner facing are still facing each other. Not too far off from what we have in Coastal Cabana, but I can see that Coastal Cabana gap block to block is a little bit uncomfortable, I have to say. But then you get the same vibes over in Ripple Bay here. Ripple Bay also has 3 layers, but you can see the units are not too close to each other. And when you go on the ground to Ripple Bay, it is actually quite a distance. You don't feel that you're too close to your neighbors. I can imagine myself, I'm very particular about having a neighbor in front of me, but I can imagine myself staying in Ripple Bay facing the pool. It's quite nice. Then we have Sea Strand, which I feel is a little bit too close, which could be similar to what we have in Coastal Cabana. The ratio of the open space versus the housing blocks is almost 1:1. I can see that the project is 50% facilities, 50% blocks. And the good thing is that you have multiple pools. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 swimming pools for adults, for kids. You have gardens, you have lawns, you have tennis court, you have close to 70 facilities over at Coastal Cabana. Overall, I think the project is a pass. As you can get past the fact that most units will be facing each other, or if you don't want, you'll be facing the back. Alright, if you're facing the sea view, you got to be paying for it But otherwise, there's chance of you having a full direct sea view is there. This entire stretch is very rare. Only Siesta and Ripple Bay are your other neighbors who will have direct sea views. So speaking of sea view units, how do the layouts look like? Alright, so first, we have this C2 915 square feet, which would be equivalent to a 980,000 square feet in the olden non-harmonized context. Alright. First, we have the common rooms, which are 9 square meters, very standard. Standard is good. Alright, because good sized bedrooms, good lah. For this layout, it comes with a bonus study alcove. Not the study room, study alcove. You can convert this into a large store cabinet if you want, alright, or you can have this remain as a work from home or a study setup. It is not common that you actually have this kitchen in this layout, because the room and the kitchen is almost facing each other. But this does give you a bit more space for your dining area, because if the kitchen entrance is by the side, it's going to constrict your dining area, right? You won't have much dining space. You do get this bomb shelter or home shelter. One thing I don't understand is that why some projects have home shelter, some don't have. And I prefer if the home shelter, bomb shelter is actually outside, shared, like the staircase home shelter type. In return, the developer gave us a proper utility room with a small window. This one you can see no window in the bomb shelter one. Those utility with small windows are projects like Park Life in Sembawang or Belisa in Pasir Ris. Those are good utility rooms that I feel a helper can use as their quarters, their sleeping quarters. But this is still better than not having any home shelter, bomb shelter at all. And otherwise, this is actually a super efficient layout. I've been to the show flat. I've seen this exact same layout. The sizes are good. The bedrooms are sizable. They are better than quite a number of other new launches I've been to in the last few months. And there have been a lot of new launches recently, right? The second layout, which is also facing the sea view, 3-bedder, guess what? Same size. Okay, but then you trade the WC for a more traditional study room that can be converted into the walk-in wardrobe or can do whatever you want to do with it. Everything else, the same. How good are these layouts compared to the resale market right now? I'm going to show you this. It's a live listing. I'm giving my fair opinion. This is Ripple Bay, one of my most favorite projects in the cluster actually. Alright, it's a big project. The layouts are generally good compared to everyone else. Alright, but in this particular layout, you get a large balcony, and I say large, in my opinion, it is also oversized. Look at how tight the dining area is. If you don't kick your dining into the balcony, your living room is going to be a bit squeezed. And then the kitchen, yard, and utility is kind of acceptable. Now, I am not a fan of balconies. So when you give me 2 balconies in one house, I cannot accept. I like balconies for the vibe, not for the utility. What utility does a balcony give? So if you give me 2 balcony, what can I do with it? Right, not much. And how much is it going for? This, in the market, is going for 1.66. Coastal Cabana, the 3-bedder starts from 1.47 and stretches to 1.7 range, alright, depending on the view. So this Ripple Bay is around the same price. And take note, Ripple Bay is how old already compared to Coastal Cabana, which will be brand new. And then we also have this Sea Horizon project, which is right next door to Coastal Cabana. My friend stays here. One thing I really don't like is this long entrance corridor that a lot of the units in Sea Horizon has because of the shape of the project and all that, right? Most owners, when I go for viewings, I see that they put a narrow cabinet or shoe cabinet over here. You have a nice window in this corner, which brightens up the area. Without the window, I can tell you, it will look like a very scary, naughty corner for kids. This project, as you can see, also comes with a second balcony. But this balcony is like a lie, scam. It's like more like a planter, and I don't see anyone doing anything with it. Can't even put a chair outside, alright? So you stand there, look at the sea only. But this master room arguably is sizable. It's one of the biggest in the area. Sea Horizon's kitchen is unfortunately very odd. As you can see, the fridge is right smack in the middle of the kitchen. I've seen more than 2 units that rip off the WC and then they reorganize the placement of the washing machine and the fridge just to make it work. All in all, this is also quite a decent layout, but with very inefficient long corridor, oversized balcony, aircon ledges here and there. How much is it going for? 1.5. Okay, so you compare that with a brand new Coastal Cabana, which is a bit more worth it. Alright, because of the size at 1001 square feet, it comes in at 1003 PSF negotiable. If you're going to tell me that I can get something brand new for the same price, relatively same price, and the layout is, I think it's good. I think Coastal Cabana actually has an edge here because of the age and the price is around the same. Now, we talk about the 4-bedroom sea view unit, this layout. Let's talk about the 4-bedroom layout, this D4 layout, which is 1163 square feet. You basically get the same vibes as the other 3-bedder in Coastal Cabana. The only difference is, or the main difference would be this decent size, actually a good size 4th bedroom and a study room which is so close to your master room you can potentially make this into a walk-in wardrobe lah. However, it seems like they've learned from Sea Horizon developers and they give us a very awkward fridge placement lah. And then you look at this WC, it's not easy for you to move the washing machine, the kitchen, the fridge inside the WC lah. But I would consider knocking down this WC wall, expand my kitchen into the WC, you know, and then I'll do a breakfast island in the middle if possible, but that's a lot of money lah. Now, to give you context, my current 4-bedroom that I'm living in is 1152 square feet. It comes with living area which was so narrow that I had to break one of the bedrooms to make the living room more sizable. But this project, you don't have to do the same. Because the width is I think 3 or 3.2 meters. It has a wider living room than my current Santorini project. Our government is doing a very good job when it comes to implementing the new harmonization rules because today you have larger rooms, larger living spaces. Your aircon ledges are not included. Your RC ledges are not included. Last time they include, no, scam. Now cannot scam already. Government, good job. Also, you don't have any more lame-ass second balcony. Instead of getting a second balcony, you get a study room. No more overcharging for aircon ledges, as I mentioned. What are the prices you can expect? Which layouts, which facings should you be looking at? Should you be targeting? And I've been telling my clients, and I will tell you also, it is not about which stack should I get for Coastal Cabana or any other EC. The real question to ask is, can you even get a unit? Can you even get a good ballot number? Alright, because with MSR capping your loan at roughly $1 million that you can borrow, if you are targeting that 4-bedder, how many of us actually have $1 million in cash in CPF lying around just for down payment? And that's the irony of today's executive condos. It started as a sandwich class product, but the 2025 version, alright, because of where prices are, honestly feels like you need to be upper middle class just to be able to consider this project. And that's what most people never think about. But let's move on. I think I've spoken about MSR so many times in the videos. Just Google, just go on TikTok, just search MSR Coastal Cabana. You can see so many agents complaining the situation. I have been seeing social media content that's sharing about how Coastal Cabana is overpriced because you can get good resale units in the area for just 1,000, 1,001, 1,002 PSF. And then they're saying that buyers should be avoiding this project because on top of the record pricing, as I mentioned, you also got to deal with MSR. Now, I agree with this narrative. MSR is challenging. That is, doesn't help the situation. It's supposed to be an affordable housing, subsidized housing, yet makes it so expensive, so difficult to purchase. I want to talk about pricing only in today's video, and I want to have a level-headed comparison with the other Pasir Ris resale comparables such as Watercolors, Siesta, Sea Horizon, Ripple Bay. These are all projects which were 2011 to 2013 launches, completed a few years later. All are in the 900 to 1,004 square feet, I think, for 3-bedders in the area. Alright, and these are all 99 years condos with similar family layout. We're going to be comparing the numbers today. You can see that your 3-bedder in Coastal Cabana, likely, as I mentioned, will be going for 1.4 to 1.78 mil. 3-bedder. You look at in the area, you've got Watercolors, you've got all these projects going from 1.1 all the way up to 1.8, alright? This is the last 1 year transactions. You've got Siesta going from 1.2 to 1.8, 1.26 to 1.7, Ripple Bay 1.4 to 1.76. These are the exact same price for a 3-bedder in Coastal Cabana. So you can imagine, you are literally buying a brand new project for the price of a 10-year-old. Is that good or what? Good lah! These projects I just shared with you, they are like 9 years, 13 years into their lease. These are not brand new. These are not fresh 99 years lease, unlike Coastal Cabana. When you see Coastal Cabana launching, is Coastal Cabana really overpriced because of the PSF? Or is it simply a 2025 price of a brand new product in this new micro market post-harmonization? And now let's compare the 4-bedder. 4-bedder in Coastal Cabana, you're going to be looking at 1.6 all the way up to 2.35 mil. In the resale market, we're seeing 1.7 to 3 mil, 1.6 to 2.4, 1.5 to 1.6, 1.9 to 2.1. Same story for the 4-bedders. The resale sea-facing 4-bedrooms have already hit 1.7. I think on average today, the resale units are going for 2.2, 2.3 and above if it's a sea-facing unit. Some of them have crossed 3 million. Not yet. 3 million have Ripple Bay. Wow. So Coastal Cabana, 4-bedder, brand new, at 1.6 to 2.35. I think it's okay. Alright, then we have the 5-bedroom unit. This one interesting. This one has to be the developer's flex unit. The one where they are really trying to show off what kind of price they can go for. This will be the headlining sales. This will be the unit that defines how expensive ECs are in today's era. All sea-facing, the 5-bedder units. It is the biggest in the entire project. There's only 22 units. And I can tell you that developers will always push the limit here for such sizing because the buyer pool is different. Alright, the quantity is limited. These are the people with the highest income household who can afford to buy an EC. And also they have support from family, I believe. But that said, this will also be the best margin, the best ROI for the right family. Because once you cross the 2.7 mil for a 5-bedder, you're not talking about the normal upgrader profile anymore. You're talking about multi-generational buyers who are future-proofing, their household. Right? These are people who will just say that I don't want to move ever again. They'll stay there for 10, 15 years and then they'll see 1.5 mil profits down the road. That's why comparing this brand new EC to a 12-year-old EC in the area next door at 1,001, 1,002 PSF doesn't make sense. We're talking about different products with different lifespan, with different buyer profile. The market has never worked like this before. Because of MSR, it's like causing such a big issue on the ground right now. But let's be real, I'm not saying that Coastal Cabana is cheap. It's not because of MSR. At the same time, nobody going to the show flat thinks that they're buying they know they are paying a high deposit down payment for tomorrow's profits, for tomorrow's gains. And we're talking about down the road, what kind of guarantee will your EC profits be? Now that topic will circle back to liquidity, okay? It is not talking about the hype, not talking about the show flat, not talking about how EC confirm make money one. The profit that you're going to be looking at down the road will depend on one thing. Who can buy, who will buy from you 10 years down the road when your project hits MOP. Okay, the future buyer is not going to be a foreigner paying 60% ABSD. It is going to be the next wave of HDB upgraders coming from Tampines North, coming from Punggol, Tampines South, coming from the Pasir Ris beach area. Alright, these are people who are reaching their MOP in 2032, 2036. These are people with dual income. These are people who are price sensitive, but they are also sitting on real solid cash profits and they want to upgrade because of better aspirations than our past, because they are aspiring for a better life, better lifestyle, but they do not want to wait 3 or 4 years for a new launch. And they want something new. In today's market, 2025, 2026, new launches in Pasir Ris, in Tampines are sold. People buy already at 2.3, 2.7 mil for a typical 3-bedder. 4-bedder going for 3 plus mil already. Coastal Cabana's eventual resale price down the road 10 years later don't even need to hit today's level for the first owners to be laughing to the bank down the road. Current price gap between a new launch condo and your current Coastal Cabana selling price is going to be supporting your resale price down the road. By 2034, Pasir Ris will also look very, very different, alright? There's going to be a lot more housing, there's going to be a lot more traffic, there's going to be a lot more people. I can tell you that along the way, selling and buying a resale unit in the area is going to be a real test, especially for buyers who are not used to the congestion. For example, today I'm serving some condo upgraders. Some are looking for 3-bedder, some looking for 4-bedder. I can tell you most of them will not touch Pasir Ris for another 10 years until all the constructions end. Of course, naturally, construction brings infrastructure, okay? You have the Cross Island Line, you've got the Pasir Ris, new developments coming up, you've got schools, you've got new conveniences coming up. These are all things that will help with the resale liquidity in future. That means it's easier to sell. It doesn't really mean you're going to sell for a higher price. Easier to sell. Okay, what most people will be looking at would be the layout, the facilities. HDB upgraders are very practical people. In my experience working with so many HDB upgraders looking at the resale market, especially in the Pasir Ris Tampines area, these are the people who are looking for efficient room sizes. They want to know whether the common rooms can fit in 2 kids sharing one room together. Double bed, bunk beds all can fit or not. They look at whether storeroom is there, yard space is there, where are the helpers going to be staying in. They look at kitchen space, how many, is it a single galley, double galley kitchen, things like that. These are what a lot of HDB upgraders look for most of the time. And if Coastal Cabana nails all of this, I can tell you no matter where the market moves, Coastal Cabana units will stay desirable throughout time. That's when your exit becomes clear, confident, because your layout, your product is good, alright, and it's backed by demand of families who can actually pay the price. Looking at this layout, I feel Coastal Cabana is a good buy today. I'm going to say it out there. Block may turn some people off, but I can tell you that has never stopped past projects from being profitable. Just look at our friends at Treasure at Tampines. Very close, very condensed, but very profitable. Again, if you want to see Coastal Cabana show flat, drop me a text, I'll bring you down.